Monday, August 29, 2016. I'm D. McClung. This is Archer Monologues. Boy, have I got one for you today. Got a lot for you, actually. Well, let's just take a look at some of the headlines. This one is on the Independent Journal Review. A fucking redneck rag if I ever saw one. Well. Sometimes you just gotta read the crap just to get out of the bathroom. Alright. So Justen Charters? Justen Charters. He's got the byline on this one. The headline: I wrote an open letter to Colin Kaepernick. I didn't expect how many people would respond to it. Well, I wouldn't, but you know, he rubs me the wrong way. Yeah, he's got some yada 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 in there and talking about this and talking about that. Anyway, let me see if I can find something that I can talk about here. Let me just say it this way. Dear Justen, you typical, ignorant, brainwashed, arrogant, self-righteous, neocon, redneck fool. You're not only wrong, you are brain dead wrong. Let me quote Justen. Quote, you used your platform to promote an anti-American theme. End quote. Well, that's just the first of things that he said in his little article that rubs me the wrong way. In fact, it rubs me so hard in the wrong way, I'm going to repeat my description of this idiot. You typical, ignorant, brainwashed, arrogant, self-righteous, neocon, redneck fool. And I'm going to add on the side, probably a hypocrite. I'm guessing, but there's more. Let me quote some more from his article. Again, I quote, then you decided to throw gasoline on the fire by implying that cops get away with murder and that they're getting paid doing it. I don't know about anyone else, but I would love to see you trade in your jersey and pigskin for a gun and a badge. I'd love to see you go patrol the inner city of Baltimore or Chicago at night and then tell me cops are part of the problem. I'd love to see you jump in front of an incoming bullet to save a life because it's part of your job. Alright. End quote, by the way. Alright, end quote, and here we go. Alright. What did he say? What? Bullshit. Alright. I'm sorry to tell you, Justen, but cops do get away with murder in this country. So where the fuck you been? What, you had your head up your ass? Like most typical redneck frickin' Americans, that's where your head has probably been. It seems to me like either that or you've had it down the toilet. What an asshole. Yeah, I'm guessing cops get away with murder in this country. Do I need to give you some examples? How many do you need? 1 or 1,000? Americans are being murdered in the streets by cops. That's a fact. That's not something you can deny, Justen. That's a fucking fact. So we're just going to have to label that one an outright fucking lie. You're a liar, Justen. That's for starters. Let's just consider the possibility of this phrase. And didn't tell me cops are part of the problem. That's exactly what I'm telling you, Justen. A very big part of the problem. They're the part of the problem we can see in our everyday America. Because not a day goes by that some cop in this country murders an innocent person, or at the very least, let's just say, murders a civilian. How many times have I read in the news about some pig, I mean cop, okay, law officer, police officer. I'm not going to call him a law enforcement officer because that would be saying, oh, a Nazi. One of the Gestapo. Because that's what the Nazis called it. Law enforcement. Achtung. Sicher. Yep. That's what the Nazi calls the police force in their country. Law enforcement. Look it up. Oh, you know who else uses the phrase law enforcement? Countries run by Muslims. You know, like the Taliban, where every lawman, where every policeman, you know, had the ability, apparently had the authority and certainly the power to go around beating people on the street if they weren't like dressed the way they were supposed to according to the official requirement of the government. You know, let's just beat some law into you, woman, for daring to walk around without a burqa, or daring to drive a car, or daring to go out of your house without the male companion, you know, some like your husband or shit. That's law enforcement. You want to talk about anti-American, buddy? How about this? Calling the policemen in this country, the police officers in this country, calling them law enforcement is about as anti-American as you can get when you come to talking about law enforcement. Oh, I mean cops, pigs, policemen, murdering bastards, Nazi police state pieces of shit. Oh, yeah, there's a good cop here and there, I guess. I guess there were a few good Nazis, too. Let me think about that for a minute, Justen. Let's talk about anti-American. Shit. Some people disgust me. You know, but not in a redneck kind of a way, because I'm not a fucking redneck. Neither am I ignorant, and neither do I have the privilege. He's talking about privilege. You know, about what is he, a football player? You know, the one that set out the national anthem. Because of why? Well, according to him, I guess, I think he said something to the effect of to protest the suppression of black people or oppression of black people. I'm only disappointed that he actually, you know, singled out black folk. Because, you know, all Americans are oppressed by the Nazi fucking fascist police state government of this country. I think it would be a fair description to say that the government of this country, and I'm talking about federal, state, local, and all of those criminal, treasonous departments like NSA and CIA and FBI, oppress Americans. All Americans. Well, I guess except maybe for certain white criminals. Oh, and I don't want to, let's not say we want to discriminate against black folk by not including them in that, because there's a few black traitors and criminals in this country. I can think of one black one. By the way, he's not black, he's brown. I won't even get into that. I'll get into it later. Okay, Obama, criminal, traitor, murderer, terrorist. And I'm not saying that because I'm bigot or because I'm biased or prejudiced or any of that shit, because I'm not. Well, I am. I'm a little bit biased against somebody that does something fucking treasonous and commits freaking murder and brags about it. You want me to give you examples of murder by the United States President, Obama? Yeah. Let me give you an example of black folk discriminating. How about presidential privilege? How about, I'm the president of the United States and I can do any fucking thing I want, including go around the world murdering people. Like, drones attacking, wedding parties and shit. This sounds like a rant, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, I have a right to rant. I have a right to be angry. I have a right to be really, really pissed off at you freaking morons. Because for one thing, you get on the freaking internet and you put things on there and, lots and lots and lots of people see what you said and hear what you said. Read your words and shit. And then, like, oh yeah. I'm sorry. Your cheerleader section, your cheering section is like as stupid as you are, Justen. I mean, it just gives me the impression that Americans are just not very fucking smart. I have friends and acquaintances and family that live in other parts of the world, other countries, and they laugh at us. You know why? Because they're pretty sure that we're idiots. Fools. Not including myself in that. We. Because I'm not. Anti-American theme, my ass. What's more American than saying, hey, I'm exercising my freedoms, my rights to say and protest and, promote a theory, a feeling, a thought, an ideal, like, you know what? America is full of cops that go around murdering people. And that's just one of the crimes they do, and they get away with it. Didn't you not read the articles? Didn't you see the news where it said, we're not going to prosecute, the criminal, the one that committed mass murder? As a Secretary of State, you know what bitch I'm talking about. That insane lunatic, that moron, no, not a moron. She's a very clever, evil person. Hillary. A known freaking criminal. A known liar. A known murderer. Mass murder. Because she is involved, in the drone attacks against the murder of innocent people in foreign countries. How many foreign countries? Name at least half a dozen. If you can't, then you're just not paying attention. So, okay, anti-American my ass. Unfortunately, Justen, you're not anti-American, are you? Incidentally, yeah, right. All right. I think I'll move on to another paragraph or another quote. Let's see what else we can come up with here. Oh, what does that mean, by the way? I'd like to see you jump in front of an incoming bullet to save a life because it's part of your job. What does that mean? Who is he talking about? I can't think of anybody who has a job description that's like, oh, I'm going to jump in front of a bullet and get killed just because it's part of my job. What kind of idiot would do that? Oh, I'm sorry. You think it's a brave, heroic thing to, sacrifice your life because it's part of your job. Now, I mean, sure, I can see, oh, I'm going to jump in front of a bullet to save the life of my wife or my mother or my kids. I think that's probably part of my job description. Protect my children from bastards that are like lunatics out, trying to shoot my kids. You don't really see a whole lot of that going on. Not really. I mean, if that were the case, I could imagine a lot of parents would be at these public school concentration camp places, these gun-free zones where, any lunatic can walk in and start killing your kids. Bam, 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 bam. I think we see a lot more parents at those schools with a gun, strapped on, walking, patrolling, protecting their children and other children in the school. But we don't see a whole lot of that, do we? You know what? If I have a kid to school and I thought, there's even the remotest possibility that some asshole, crazy lunatic is going to come in with a gun and start killing children, including mine, guess what? I'm going to be at that school and I'm going to be packing, locked and loaded, ready. I dare you to walk into my school, with the school where my child is, and shoot up the place. Yeah, you might get one shot off. The second one's going to be mine, in your face, you pig. So, I wasn't talking to you, Justen. I was talking to some lunatic that walks into a school with a gun and starts killing people. I heard there was a school in Texas where the principal said, hey, you got a sign out in front of the school saying, the staff, the teachers are armed. So, if you want to come into the school and start shooting people, you're going to kill you, motherfucker. That's protecting your children. How come there aren't any parents there? Oh, the teachers are going to be armed. Yeah, well, in some cases I think that might be a little bit stupid, but all right, never mind. After all, they are teaching lies, bullshit, and freaking government propaganda to the children. I think that's almost as bad as, terrorizing freaking Afghanistan. And that's what it is. Because the American government, the United States government, is terrorizing the fucking world because the United States government is a terrorist organization. And if you're a police officer in this country, you're part of that. So, excuse me for being conscious and paying attention and being halfway intelligent. Kiss my ass, Justen. Another quote from Justen. Go knock on the doors of the widows who lost their husbands in the police assassinations in Dallas and Baton Rouge. Tell them cops get away with murder. Okay? What kind of freaking logic is that? Huh? That's just outright stupid thing to say. Seriously. Would I tell the widows of people, police officers who were murdered on the streets, would I tell them, widows and widowers, would I tell them that cops get away with murder? Yeah, I would. In fact, I'm doing it right now. Hey, you, ladies, widows, children of, relatives, family of, neighbors, etc., of those cops that were murdered in Dallas, Baton Rouge. You know what? Perhaps if their fellow police officers weren't murdering people in the streets in America, maybe they wouldn't have been shot. Maybe if they weren't a part of that Nazi terrorist organization called the police force in America, people wouldn't be really pissed off at them for being murdering bastards and belonging to that organization, that terrorist organization called law enforcement in America. In other words, and I'm not even going to say in my humble opinion, because it's rather obvious, they brought that on themselves by murdering people in the street and getting away with it. So you can just sit back, Justen, and just, brag, puff, big old redneck American big shot, and lie and twist it around, and I'm sorry, Justen, kiss my ass. Nobody should have to tell a widow of anybody being assassinated. Yeah, nobody should have to go to the widows or whatever family members of someone who was murdered and say, hey, your father, your brother, your husband, your son or daughter was just murdered today by a frickin' lunatic. Or by the resistance. Yeah. Well, if you didn't go around acting like a fucking asshole, you probably wouldn't be treated like one. Just a tip, just a little clue. Don't be a part of a terrorist organization, and you won't be treated like one. I'm pretty sure that if all the cops in this country were not part of the terrorist organization called law enforcement, that, oh, just a footnote here. How many people in America have been gunned down by cops? You know what? I think it's more than a handful. I think it's like in the hundreds. I'm going to guess even possibly in the thousands. Right here in the good US of A. Talk about anti-American. Just a footnote here. I'm not anti-American. I love my country. The normal amount of love, not some sort of zealot, fanatic, redneck idiot. I love my country, like, I live here. It's pretty cool. The country, the land, the trees, the mountains, the streams, the rivers, the lakes. And quite a number of people. are pretty much, wonderful and act civilized. And actually don't go around murdering people and, getting away with it. Hillary Clinton can get away with murder. How many people you can say are kind of lined up and attached and associated with Hillary Clinton in some way or another, who are now dead? I'm suspecting really hard, I suspect really a lot, that, a lot of these 55 people, maybe all of them, were actually murdered. And I'm guessing it's possible that some of them were murdered by cops. I really think wait a minute. I think I've said enough about that. I think you get the point. And if you don't grasp that, if you don't understand that, oh, by the way, I'm speaking English. Yeah, I know a few French words thrown in there, but you can handle it. Trust me. You're not going to go deaf or freaking drop over dead from hearing the word fuck now and then. It's just a word. Words don't kill people. Oh, unless, of course, Hillary Clinton gives the word to have you snuffed. But then again, it's not the word. It's who said it and the consequences. Oh, I'm not saying Hillary Clinton ordered anybody murdered. I don't really have enough evidence to support that theory. I just think it's highly suspicious that 55 people associated with her, who, some of them were going to testify against her, or at least give witness against her for her crimes, who just, got suicided. Do you think? There's a suspicion there. What do they call that in legal terms? Reasonable suspicion? I think I have a reasonable suspicion there. I think reasonable suspicion is Hillary had something to do with that. Those 55 dead people. I mean, I think it's really interesting when somebody freaking shoots themselves twice in the back of the head and that's suicide. I don't think that's even physically possible. I'm pretty sure the laws of physics just simply don't allow that to happen. Can't be done. I guess in the Twilight Zone, maybe. Alright, that's enough about that freaking Hillary. Hold on. Got another quote here out of the article by Justen. Alright, let's do another quote from the article by Justen. Quote, "But the fact that you decided to insult the country that has given you everything and then took a shot at law enforcement while exercising that right is the problem." Well, I don't think it's a problem for him. I mean, it is now because you're going to try to assassinate him now. I mean, character-wise at least. Beat him to death with stupid words and lies and bullshit. Because number one, Justen used the term law enforcement. Didn't I say something about that earlier? Law enforcement. Anybody that uses the term law enforcement, I automatically put them on the terrorist list. On the I'm too stupid to breathe list. Because he's been duped. Justen, you've been duped, buddy. You've been brainwashed. You've been indoctrinated. You've allowed the government, this evil government that you're all defending, Oh, you're not defending the country, by the way. He's defending the government. That's like the word national security. That means the government's security. It doesn't have anything to do with us, folks. Trust me on that one. So, law enforcement is a phrase. Taliban, remember? Taliban, Nazis, German, the Gestapo, the Stasi. Law enforcement. It's not an American term. That is an anti-American term, buddy. Law enforcement. Because, number one, cops are not supposed to enforce the law. That's a delusion. That's like a total freaking lie. Somebody made that shit up, and then tried to shove it in your brain. And they're shoving it in the brains of all Americans by keep using the term law enforcement, because that's not what American police forces are supposed to be doing. It's not their job. Talking about your job. Job description. So, don't use the phrase law enforcement. Use your brain. They put that out there, to get you used to the idea of being, the subject and oppressed by law enforcement, by the Taliban enforcing the laws of the elitists, the tyrants, the bullies of the government. Law enforcement. Don't use that phrase. It disgusts me, and it should disgust you, because it's just stupid, idiotic, and you've been brainwashed. The government, the mind benders, let's just get them used to hearing the words law enforcement. We'll just use it every chance we get, and brainwash. And then the media picks up on that, and then the media says it, and even every American I've talked to in the last year or two or three or four, they come up with it. Law enforcement, like, oh my God, you've been brainwashed. You've been indoctrinated with bullshit. You poor fool. They use the phrase, law enforcement, law enforcement, law enforcement. Repeat it often enough, you'll get used to the idea that cops have the right or the power or the authority. They have the power, of course, because they're freaking terrorists, and terrorists have power. Law enforcement, You might as well be saying Taliban or Sharia law or, Nazi Gestapo, because that's what it means. And that's what they're just trying to get you used to that. Ooh, the mind benders, the elitists of the Neocon Socialist Alliance Collective. They've turned the English language into babble. Really, because most people can't understand English anymore. They can't read, they can't understand, they can't comprehend, and they can't reason. They can't think logically, rationally, like, human beings were designed to do, until the freaking mind benders got a hold of them and, twisted their brains around so they can't even understand English anymore. It's disgusting, people, and I don't understand how so many of you don't get that. Boggles the mind how utterly naive and gullible Americans are. And they let themselves be duped. They let themselves become a part of that nightmare called the American police state. Damn it. Yes, I'm a smoker. And you got a problem with that? Yeah, kiss my ass. I'm getting pretty sick and tired of you anti-smoker, anti-tobacco, anti-freedom people, telling me I can't smoke a cigarette in my own fucking house. Or my own fucking car. Or out in the fucking open air. Or anywhere else. Because that's law enforcement. They'll give you a ticket or fine you or arrest you if you smoke a cigarette, like, in front of a kid. I want to throw in there about WVU and their tyrannical Nazi police state administration. Ooh, he said something nasty about WVU. Ha 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 ha. I got family members that work for that Nazi organization, WVU. Wouldn't put it past me if the administration of that terrorist organization called WVU. Oh, by the way, WVU, they have some fantastic doctors, some fantastic medical staff and facilities, state-of-the-art medical facilities, WVU and Ruby Hospital and WVU Medicine, whatever the title of the place is these days. But I'm sorry, but if you're going to tell me I can't smoke a cigarette in my own damn car that just happens to be driving through your parking lot, WVU, Ruby Hospital, then I'm sorry, but you're a Nazi tyrant and a bully, and you're un-American and, anti-American, because, none of your fucking business what I do in my car. And, law enforcement should get a clue on that, because that's un-American. You want to talk about un-American, Justen? I might go so far as to say that America is un-American or anti-American, because most Americans, I say most, anywhere from 51% up to like 99.9% of Americans act like anti-American redneck idiots. When the majority of the people can't name the first president of the United States, when the majority of Americans think that Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, when a majority of Americans think that, United States military personnel, soldiers, Americans, are actually going over to foreign countries, invading foreign countries, and murdering those people, innocent people, men, women, and children. That reminds me, McCain, the guy that was over in Vietnam murdering men, women, and children for his country? No. For the freaking bastards that run it. The psychopaths in Washington, for example. See, I went off on a tangent there with John McCain because, things pop into my head like that. And I got to say it because it's all related. John McCain is a baby killer. He was arrested, captured in Vietnam, and held as a prisoner for 5.5 years, as I understand it, because he got caught murdering people, which is a crime. Crime against humanity in his case. And this man is in the government of this country. He's a senator in this country and has been for a while. He ran for president? I mean, come on. What kind of country does that? I mean, so, for example, if Abraham... No. Abraham Lincoln. Piece of shit. Okay, let's suppose Adolf Hitler was just to arise from the dead and become, alive and working in the United States of America, and, let's say, I'm going to run for president. Okay, mein Führer, go ahead. You'll probably win because Americans love the Nazis. I don't know. Let's see who we can relate to that. I could think of a couple, but I won't name names. I'll get back to my story. Hold on, I gotta take a break. Oh, well, then there's the last part. The last part. You should be standing there in silence with deep appreciation for the beautiful and fulfilling life America has given you. Well, I think not, people. Justen, you're an idiot. Seriously. Why should he stand silent? I'm talking about the football player that didn't stand up for the national anthem. National anthem. Nationalistic. Let's worship the God American government. They're not talking about the country. They're talking about the fucking government. Justen is a fool. Sorry, Justen, you're a fool. I said it, I meant it. Case closed. Does that mean we have to appreciate the cops that go around murdering, human beings in the country on the street and getting away with it? Because we're not going to prosecute. We're not going to prosecute. We're going to give you a promotion and a raise. Like in the case of Hillary, who committed crimes against humanity as Secretary of State, and God knows how many crimes she's committed, privately. You know what I mean? Wink, wink. All right? So, can I just stand in silence? And no, I can't. I can't keep my mouth shut in the face of absolute, total lunacy. And liars and bullies and Nazi police state bastards. The beautiful and fulfilling life America has given you. Nah, I don't think so. It has nothing to do with America. It has to do with the nation. The government, pretty much, because they're talking about the national anthem, which is the anthem of the government, just like the flag is a symbol of the government. Don't have time to get into that, but, the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, excuse me. In the first place, it says under God, which is freaking anti-American. Certainly anti-American freedom, because if I gotta say it, and I don't believe it, then it's... Alright, never mind. Alright, here's the deal. Last word to Justen. Go fuck yourself. Moron. Alright. End of this segment. We'll talk to you again later. Theme of Club. Archer Monologues. Where you might actually learn something if you pay attention. Catch you later.